Hey everybody, it's Josh Madsen from Freeheel Life, where we preserve, protect, and promote telemark skiing. And today I'm back with a special video about the TX Pro NTN telemark boot from Scarpa. So the objective today in this video is to go through the TX Pro boot from Scarpa and see if it's a good fit for you. There's lots of telemark boots out there, but the TX Pro is one of those boots that I think is a great place to start if you're looking to either get into telemark or maybe you're shifting from an older platform. And I think a lot of people, this is a good boot and a good fit for them. So let's start off with the basics of what everybody always asks about boots is how much do they weigh? So these are 3 pounds, 12 ounces per boot, or just a little over 1,700 grams per boot in a size 27 Mondo, which is what I'm showing here. So that's more or less men's 9 in US sizing. Now, if we go through the features from top to bottom, we'll talk a little bit about this liner first. This is a nice heat moldable liner. It's made by Intuition and fits really nicely around the foot. I would say most boot fitting with this boot works really well with a simple heat mold. Other boot fitting things may need to be done, but that's up to you. We generally have a pretty good system of heat molding people's feet and having a lot of success there. And they can be if you find a used pair of boots, they can be reheat molded a couple different times. So we've got the power strap here, which is a Velcro power strap, okay? And then we've got 2 upper buckles. We've got a mid strap and we've got a lower buckle. Each one of these buckles has micro adjustment, so you can get even a tighter feel there. And then one of the things I like about this is on these buckles, you've got an additional hole here that you can move over this part of the ratchet so you can get a little tighter feel for that. So there's a lot of variability that's built into the boot, so you can customize it to the size of your calf, foot, instep, and whatnot. And ski walk mode on the back. So there are some lean adjustments that you can do here where you can actually adjust how much forward lean the boot has, which is nice. And having this up when you're going uphill is very nice because it gives you extra range of motion. It's about 22 degrees of range of motion. And for those just walking through the parking lot or drinking a beverage after skiing, that's another good little tool to have on there. On the bottom, Vibram sole to walk on, good grip, and very good boot just to walk around, not only in the snow, but if you are in the backcountry and need that additional grip on maybe some rock, dirt, or so on. And that kind of covers the majority of the features of the TX Pro. So let's get to the meat and potatoes of this whole thing. Is this a good telemark boot for me? Well, I guess it really depends where you're coming from. And that's sort of the line of questioning that we always use at Freeheel Life is tell us a little bit about the boots that you're using. So in this video, I kind of wanted to break down a couple different scenarios that maybe will fit you, or you're somewhere in between a couple of these. And hopefully that'll help you decide if this is a good boot for you. So the first question I would ask is, what kind of telemark skier are you? Are you a beginner telemark skier, an intermediate, an advanced telemark skier? Are you not even a telemark skier at all, and maybe you're just getting in to making telemark turns and wanting to learn, and this is your first setup? Overall, I would say this is a great boot all around for everyone from beginner starting out to someone that's still a beginner but maybe has been telemarking for a little while, all the way into intermediate, expert, and beyond. I feel like this boot has the most versatility of all the Scarpa boots in terms of what you're able to use. And let's go through a couple of the features. The one thing I didn't mention in the tech features is the flex rating. Telemark boots, we don't use flex ratings as often. They do exist, but this is considered about a 110 flex. So it's sort of medium flex if you think about it. Compared to alpine boots, I mean, they usually have a flex rating for those, and you get like a 130 flex is like a race boot. Or so I hear. I'm not very well versed in all of those flex ratings in the Alpine boots, but I do know this is a 110 flex, and I do know how it feels. And it feels medium, you know? It's not too soft, but it's really not too stiff a boot. But the thing with Telemark is having a boot that has good flex throughout it is very, very important. You want the sole to be able to flex nicely, which it does. This is a fairly easy bellow to collapse and flex, which is what engages the ball of your foot. And the cuff is not too stiff as well. So kind of through the ankle and all through the ball of the foot and the cuff and the sole, it's kind of got a nice medium flex. For someone who's coming from another Telemark boot, let's talk about maybe an example in Scarpa, for instance. Coming from a T1 boot in the 75 millimeter platform, this would be a very comparable boot to that. And probably the closest relationship is from the T1 over to the TX Pro. Now, I will say the bellow can feel a little softer than the T1 in Scarpa boots, but there's all sorts of variations with spring configurations on the bindings that sort of make up for that. And that's why I like this boot so much, is it's not overpowering, it's not difficult to ski. And I think that's really important. So someone coming from a T1, I think this is a great option for you. Someone coming from T-Race, which was a stiffer boot, that's the one that I used to ski a lot. I still think this is a good boot for a lot of people. Only because T-Race was a very, very stiff boot, and the bindings, depending on how you were setting up your bindings, you weren't necessarily skiing bindings that are comparable to today's NTN bindings. So just be aware of that as you're choosing this. You may not want to go stiffer on the boot just to accomplish a similar thing that you had on a 75 millimeter setup before you came to NTN. So as far as what type of skier, I feel like you can become a better skier with this boot because it's not overpowering what you're doing. And I also feel like it fits, you know, I would be comfortable putting a beginner coming from alpine skiing, for instance, or snowboarding, and putting them into a four buckle boot like this, because I don't think it's overpowering and allows you to feel the turn, feel the technique, and learn what you're doing. So the second reason that you may consider this a good boot for you is you're looking to get a new Telemark boot, and this is the time to get into NTN. So one thing that a lot of people that we've worked with over the years have always asked, well, is NTN better? NTN being new Telemark norm, and you can look through some of our other videos to understand more about that. But people ask, is it better? And we're at a point now where the availability of the boots is really what it comes down to for us. Not the way that you fasten to the ski. It's just simply the T1 boot that I mentioned from Scarpa no longer exists. And so if you're looking to spend money on a new boot, this is a fantastic option to shift into this and be able to get into the NTN platform. And it's not just about getting into the NTN platform as much as it is all bindings moving forward are going to be on the new Telemark norm platform, NTN bindings. So instead of instead of searching for used boots, because obviously the new ones don't exist in the older platform, it's time to move on, and this is a good place to be. One of the other features I didn't mention in the tech and specs was the ability to use tech toe NTN bindings as well. So if you're someone who's very much a backcountry Telemark skier, or maybe you're aspiring to be a backcountry Telemark skier, either full-time or part-time, having the tech toe built into the boot is gonna be great, because it's gonna allow you to use bindings that have tech toe, and also allow you to use bindings that have traditional cage toe. So that's something to keep in mind as well. And again, just adds to the versatility of this boot. You may be coming from a 75 millimeter platform, and you want something that's gonna kind of give you all of the options with bindings. This is the boot that you're gonna wanna do. In the Scarpa boots, you do have the TX Pro, which is a stiffer boot I'll cover in another video. But you don't have tech toe with that binding, and it's much stiffer. Very similar, essentially identical features, but I really think that the Tech Toe distinguishes the versatility of the TX Pro versus any other boot. So considering what's on the market today, TX Pro, for good reason, this is the boot that we sell the most out of Freeheel Life. And I've really enjoyed skiing it myself. I've been on it for years. It's my go-to boot for me to do everything. And we'll do additional videos in the future where we talk about how to mix and match bindings and boots and all of that. But for now, I wanted to walk you through this and see if this is a good boot and a good fit for you coming either into Telemark for the very first time, or maybe you're coming from another boot and you're just sort of curious about what the TX Pro offers. So hopefully this video helped you out, helped you understand a little bit more about the TX Pro, some of the features that it has, and see if it's a good fit for you this Telemark season. So thanks for liking and subscribing to the channel if you already have. If you haven't, please do. It helps us so much. And consider also, we have membership options where you can get more in-depth videos behind a paywall, and you do a monthly subscription that will allow you to get some more information about equipment and technique and so on. So until next video, spread Telemark always.